This is genuinely sickening, as we've seen a ton of reports and rumors about RJ Barrett getting dealt this offseason, and those really started to percolate since the trade deadline, where it was clear Masai Ujiri was shopping RJ Barrett, specifically with the New Orleans Pelicans. But now, a new trade proposal just dropped from an NBA analyst that, frankly, absolutely disgusts me. It has me genuinely fired up, as I have been outspoken. I have come out on all these videos and talked about how RJ Barrett needs to be a piece that we keep around on this team long term. He's on a reasonable contract. I'm going to argue he was our best player last season, and he is still super young. And frankly, yes, Scottie Barnes is more upside. We just acquired Brandon Ingram, but day in, day out, RJ Barrett was that guy for the team last season. And now we have a new sort of proposal. Just not only is it frustrating because I think it's dumb, but it's genuinely the thought process. It's the specifics in regards to belief about RJ Barrett's trade value, what we should do, how we should view him as an asset. And frankly, I think it's completely stupid. So we'll dive into all that in this video. Before we do, folks, again, trying to hit that 38,000 subscriber goal by the NBA Draft Lottery. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you haven't just yet. Let's see if we can hit that number, 37,400 by the end of this video, about 24 subs away. So appreciate every single one of you that are tuning into the videos, even with the Raptors not playing here right now. But let's dive into it, because frankly, this had me absolutely fired up today. And basically, this report dropped, or this discussion, that a trade that makes sense for the Toronto Raptors would be the Toronto Raptors receiving Marcus Smart, a trade exception, and a 2026 second-round pick in return for RJ Barrett. So the Raptors have the Los Angeles Lakers, so it's a Lakers second-round pick, not even a Wizards pick. So not even an upper class, second-round pick. Basically, it would go to this team. The Wizards have several guys. Toronto would get the highest selection for the bidder. Whatever. That's the specifics of this trade proposal that's going around Toronto Raptors land here right now. And frankly, this is insulting. This is genuinely something I look at, and it is a disgrace in regards to the intelligence of people and just, the disrespect towards a guy in RJ Barrett, who, if we look at his stats, right, 21 points per game last season, 6 rebounds, 5.4 assists, 35% from the three-point line at 24 years old. He shot 48% out there in corner threes. We're talking about a guy that's 21, 6, and 5 at 24 years old, with the defenses all locked in on because there were so many injuries to this Raptor squad last season. And we're just saying, hey, we're going to give him up for a complete, not to disrespect Marcus Smart, but a complete non-factor. A non-factor for the Wizards last season that is, 7 years older and just doesn't... What on earth? Why on earth would this make any sense? And they explained some of their, twisted, messed up logic in regards to stuff out there on this front. But people talk about, I've heard the discussions. Oh, RJ Barrett's contract's bad. It's this, that, and the Raptors, they have to make some decisions regarding the contract situation. I mean, if we're looking at the top guys, RJ Barrett's locked in, for a guy that's averaging 21, 6, and 5, whatever we looked at, $25 million in the current NBA, 27, 29 over the next couple seasons. That is an absolute bargain. That's a more reasonable contract than the IQ contract. That's just a solid contract for the Toronto Raptors to have on the books. That's a good value contract. That is not something, if we are trying to get under the cap, if we are trying to get off of money, it doesn't make sense to make that happen. And then if these big fish come into play, which we've seen, Masai Ujiri, all the reports, all the odds start dropping, that's a valuable contract that other teams would want, other teams would be interested in picking up. It's a net positive deal that we can facilitate in trades if you're not that sold on RJ Barrett, which, again, I am sold on RJ Barrett being like a legitimate basketball player, but the fact that, it's RJ Barrett going out and then Marcus Smart in a swap, it doesn't make any sense. And the logic that was given for this just is absolutely stupid. So, essentially, Bleacher Report came out and said that if the Raptors land a number 7 pick in June, the lottery, which could change for the better or worse, altering their projected salary, they project to reach about $189 million in payroll. The luxury tax line is expected to be $187 million, so Toronto will be over that threshold. So, that's before considering the free agency of Chris Boucher, Orlando Robinson, and Garrett Temple. Of course, we already let Orlando Robinson go, but that's, I digress. Immanuel Quickley, Jakob Poeltl, and RJ Barrett all have incentives in their contracts as well. So Toronto will need to shed salary if it hopes to avoid the luxury tax. And this deal proposed is the one that, the geniuses over there at Bleacher Report, I don't want to disrespect anyone making content, especially this time of year, but this was a dumb post. I know it's rage bait probably. I know it's there to get people fired up, but if we're shedding salary, I mean, why on earth would you do it in this way? Because if you look at Marcus Smart's contract, the dude's making $21 million anyways next season. I get that it's expiring at that point, and then, there's value in that and all that type of stuff, and then it's tradable out there in the future. Like, it's not like Marcus Smart, you're just getting it for the level of basketball player he is there right now, but that is genuinely just stupid, because they're treating it like RJ Barrett is some cancer contract, some guy that you can't have out there on your books, can't have out there on your team. And this is because, again, Bleacher Report, I've done this long enough time to know that these articles come out, they do what they do, and it is what it is. That stuff, it's fine. But this speaks to a larger narrative, a larger discussion, a larger point that I want to bring up, because, again, I've been adamant about this team. Not only unless it's a superstar trade, unless you're getting, something absurd back. Trading RJ Barrett right now makes no sense. He's been improving. He's locked in on this team. He's fully been bought in on the Toronto Raptors. And, he's good at basketball. I know IQ has high upside and he got that long contract and stuff, but RJ Barrett was objectively better than Immanuel Quickley last season. I know Scottie Barnes, definitely the upside and the defensive versatility. Like Scottie Barnes, healthy, I think is probably would have been the better player last season. But RJ Barrett was the dude that the Toronto Raptors relied upon, that they focused on, that they gave the ball to. Down the stretch of games, I know we have Ingram out there in the mix now, so it's like, oh, is he redundant? Considering his money, considering his contracts, and Masai Ujiri does have to make some decisions. He does have to make some decisions out there with the salary cap, because, again, this team, we have to see how it looks healthy. We have to see how things shake out. And I'm not saying this core needs to be kept together for the next 3-4 seasons without any chances of any of them getting dealt, including RJ Barrett. That's not my stance. But in a deal as egregiously bad as this, and a deal that's absolutely objectively just an absolute, deconstruction of your roster, of your team, that is just, that's fireable. I know Masai Ujiri won a championship. I'm a Masai guy, but that is fireable if that type of deal ends up being one of the moves that go down here now at this point for this Raptors squad. And I just hate that RJ Barrett, especially where, he was the one guy that, we could actually look on as fans and say, hey, he was trying. He was giving his best go. He was making that push, making that effort last season, stayed out there on the court, did all those types of things. And he's the guy that everyone wants to trade, and not even trade, Kevin Durant, whatever. Not even in those types of packages. We're talking about a Marcus Smart trade that is completely washed. And this isn't DPOY Marcus Smart. This is a guy that's washed, that's cooked, that's on the Washington Wizards, right? This is not that level of player. No disrespect to Marcus Smart, but he's not that guy. He's not a positive here at this point. He's making $20 million himself. That's a bad contract. That's a guy at this point in his career, it's a bad contract. It is baffling to me that these types of things can go out there, and then there's people trying to defend that type of stuff. It's stupid. It's absurd. And I'm going to continue to back RJ Barrett out here in all of these discussions. But let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comment section down below. Again, hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with all the latest madness regarding this Toronto Raptors team. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.